the Spanish nerd. Day 4, you got one job, but it's a new one. You haven't seen this one before. You may be able to look at this and know exactly what you're expected to do, and if you figured it out, fantastic. But if not, take today as an orientation to know how you're going to tackle this particular exercise every time it comes up, because this is another reoccurring exercise from now until the end of the book. So day 4, here's what we got. Well, really, let's focus on this. Whenever you see this chart, 15 key irregular verbs, and then below it, you have the 15 verbs from yesterday. Remember I said yesterday, very important words to memorize because we're going to be using them. We're going to be working with them. Remember, building blocks. This is building blocks, okay? So you already know all of these words because you made some awesome memory aids. First thing you're going to do whenever you get to a chart like this, or this chart, you're going to see the pink words. They're the same as last time, but it still says this term doesn't matter. So you can ignore that if you'd like to. Now, we're going to read the paragraph. The paragraph says, today is a continuation of the verb lesson from day 2. You may want to do a brief review of that day's lesson before starting this one. We're still practicing the same verbal concept with the same pronoun yo. However, today we'll practice this with some of the most common irregular verbs, or in other words, the 15 key irregular verbs that you learned yesterday. Every time, don't forget this, every time that you see this chart, you're going to be following exactly the same thing you were doing, or you're going to be practicing the exact same concept as the previous verb lesson that came previous to this, okay? So in today's case, it wasn't yesterday, it wasn't on day 3. You had a little bit of a break from verbs. It happened to be on day 2 as mentioned. But what did we do on day 2? Day 2, what was the concept? Present tense. It wasn't future, it wasn't past tense, it wasn't hypothetical. It's present, it's the now. And we were learning the patterns with the word yo. However, today we're looking at the irregularities. And again, don't get overwhelmed. Don't scare yourself. The irregularities, they often have very similar patterns as their regular verbs. And the other great thing about it, to help you feel a little bit more comfort, is they're so common. You're going to hear them every day. So the word or the conjugations that you're going to learn today, you're going to start using them immediately. I hope you do. I hope that today or tomorrow you get an opportunity to use these words, okay? The more that you use them and hear them, you're going to memorize them. You're going to be immersing your brain always, okay? So then after reading the paragraph, you're going to look at the example. I am fine. Estoy bien. Again, on these examples there, these example sentences just before the chart, focus more on the English, okay? Really focus more on the English because I want you to see what's going on. That's showing you an example of the concept. This is the same, very similar to the one from day 2, the example. Let's see, what was the example? It was I speak English. Remember the bold letters, I speak? You're saying I do an action. Here, technically, am is the action. When the verb to be, or when a person is being something, they are something, that's technically the action of the sentence, okay? So here you're saying I am fine. Before we said I speak, here we say I am. All right, that's the action of the sentence. So same concept. I do an action. I do an action. That's what we're learning. But these ones, you're just straight up going to be memorizing these ones. Today, you're not so much focusing on a pattern to be imitated by other verbs. You're literally just looking at the pattern for that particular verb. So let's look at an example. So the word estar, you learned that it means to be something in a temporary state or something like that. The word estar, which means to be something temporarily. Whenever you want to say I am something, you're going to say yo estoy. You're not going to say I was, I will be. No, I am. I am happy, I am sad, I am whatever. Same thing with the one below, except for permanent. It's a more permanent thing. Ser, yo soy. That's the pattern that you're going to learn for saying I am something, but more permanent. I am a doctor. I am whatever it is that you want to say in a more permanent state. I am an American, I am a Canadian, I'm an Australian, I'm a New Zealander, or whatever, okay? So basically, just memorize these ones right here, okay? Again, you're not trying to relate these as a pattern for other words. You're literally just memorizing how these particular key 15 irregular verbs conjugate. Another thing that I can mention is notice that a lot of these end in O, just like before, just like day 2. However, the ones that end just in an O often have a little bit of a difference. The ending wasn't the only thing that changed. On these ones, I intentionally don't have colors highlighting the changes because it just looks like a chaotic mess. There's so many irregularities. Don't worry about that. What I want you to do is read them out loud, okay? I want you to go through these like this. Let's start on the third word, for example, okay? You're going to say hacer. Okay, I remember hacer means to do or to make. All right, let's look at the pattern that I want to memorize whenever I want to say I do or I make. It's yo. Yo means I. Okay, I know that already. And then I don't say aso because before I learned on day 2 that I dropped the ER and add O, but this one's irregular. So if I want to say I do something or I make something, I don't say yo hago. I have to say yo hago. Okay, yo hago. And then now you practice it. Write something down. If you're using the ebook, write it in your notepad. Okay, have notes for each day. Okay, you could say I make food. And even if you draw a blank and you wanna just put in an English word, that's okay. It's just about getting the wheels turning in your head. All right, that's the biggest thing here. Another thing I can mention is notice that sometimes it's not only the ending, sometimes it's the middle of the word. Like, for example, let's go down to the next one. Poder means to be able to. Notice that the O changes. That's an irregularity. You're not saying yo puedo, right? You're saying yo puedo. It goes puedo. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to do what I've mentioned already, but also every time I want you to spot what the irregularity is. And I want you to do it out loud. I want you to read it out loud. I want you to read every single one of these. And right before you do your practice sentence, you're going to follow the way that I told you to do. But whenever you get to this, let's go to the next one. Let's say pensar, for example. All right. This is what I want you to do. Pensar. Okay, that means to think. Notice there's no English translation here. You already know this stuff. You know these words. You're just looking at the little difference and learning a pattern. Okay. So you say pensar means to think. Let's go to the pattern. How would I say I think? Because yo means I, so obviously we're saying I think. Yo pienso. And I want you to read it out loud just like that. Yo pienso. I think. Yo pienso. Okay, so I think what? Let me write a word. Try to write a sentence, And again, if you want to add English words at the end of it, you want to say yo pienso about food all day long. Write a Spanglish sentence. It doesn't matter because these are patterns that you're learning. I want you to just get out there and just make sentences in Spanish and immersion whenever you're out there. We're not focusing on memorizing sentences. We're focused on teaching you patterns that you're going to be using for the rest of your life. Okay? So read them out loud, every single little letter, and try to notice the little irregularities. And again, don't feel overwhelmed about this because all the 15 words that you're using today, you already know the verbs. You're really just learning the 15, let's say, well, I guess they're basically new words, but the 15 conjugations here, you're going to be using these all the time. I do this, I do that. You're always going to be using these. You're going to memorize them so fast. Again, listen to music. You're going to hear these in music all the time. I guarantee it. All of these words are in music all the time. So find some good Spanish music that you like and listen, let your brain absorb the language, okay? If you have any questions about this, let me know. In the meantime, as always, stop